Welcome, everyone. This is part 3 in our 8-part series designed to help you move beyond compliance and into true strategic relationships and leadership positions with your clients. Each of the sessions talks about a piece of your client's financial life. And by the end, our hope is that you'll have practical frameworks you can use immediately with your clients. And so if you've been with us in part 1 and 2, you know how much ground we've covered in those topics. However, if this is your first session, don't worry about it. Today's content stands on its own, and you will leave with tools you can use today in client meetings. So, what we have found and why we've designed these classes is most classes give you theory. They talk about platforms and online resources that you have to subscribe to, and you may take notes on maybe one day I'll implement that. This session is different. We're not here to add to your paper pile of notes or give you another software platform that you have to buy in order to be successful. We're here to give you clarity, client stories, and client-ready language that you can actually use this afternoon in your next client meeting. So my ask is lean in. Take notes if you want. Write questions down. We'll give you an opportunity or resource at the end for you to ask those questions. But picture the client conversations that you've had and the client meetings that are coming up that you can implement this in. Because the more you apply this kind of real application to in your head with real clients, the more valuable it will be for you. And so I want to be clear before we really get into this. This session is not about turning you into a financial advisor, an estate planning attorney, or an insurance specialist. Clients aren't asking you to do someone else's job. What they're asking for, often without saying it, is that they just want a more coordinated team-based approach.
Yes, that's true. This presentation is about context. We're going to show you the challenges your clients are maybe facing, what's holding CPAs back from addressing some of these challenges, and what to look for in client conversations. Our goal here is simple: to equip you to ask better questions. From there, the choice is yours. You can continue down the same path, or you can start building the kinds of strategic partnerships that allow you to solve bigger, more meaningful problems for your clients. Clients will remember the moments when something finally clicks. That's what builds trust. It's what builds loyalty and ultimately generates referrals. And that's what we will help you deliver today.
So before we get in really to the guts of this thing, we thought it would be a good idea for us to actually introduce ourselves so you have an idea of who we are. My name is Mike Clark. Actually started my career working for Johnson & Johnson, selling medical devices, won a bunch of awards, and then shifted into this high-level financial advisory services just from my own personal experience and education. And over those years, I ended up raising $42 million for a handful of companies. I completed my MBA and worked with clients to implement advanced strategies for preserving and growing their wealth, things that I never learned as a young adult. But one of those, during those time in raising capital, one of the things I noticed was this complete disconnect between the professionals who should have been working together on behalf of the business owner and clients. They often left the individual confused. So my role today is to help professionals build professional relationships so their clients don't have to struggle with clarity.
And my name is Michael Clark, and I've spent over 30 years in the financial services industry, sitting across the table from high net worth and ultra high net worth families. My focus has always been simplifying complexity, turning jargon into clarity, and speaking in a language that clients can actually understand. I like to describe myself as somebody who's achieved success through survival, made probably every mistake there is to make and survived in spite of it. However, along the way, I've learned a few things, and I'm happy to share many of the things that have worked and some of the things that maybe haven't worked. And most importantly, we're going to just try to bring a new dimension to your process so that you can utilize it with your clients. Mike Clark will be facilitating today, and I will serve as your technical guide, sharing stories and examples from a very long career in the financial services field.
Great. So let's jump into this. And I want to highlight a couple of things because, clients don't want another spreadsheet or a product pitch. What they really want is clarity. They want to know where they're headed. They want to see that their advisors were coordinated and to feel confident nothing's fallen through the cracks. And I say that because this is the space a lot of CPAs can own if they're willing to step into it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Clients rarely lose sleep over the market being up or down 2%. They lose sleep because they don't know if their financial life is truly connected. Um, and you don't need to sell investments to fix that. Your opportunity is to become the integrator, the one who puts it all together, the one who connects the dots so that everything works together. This is where, once again, loyalty is created and where referrals will flow.
And by the end of this session, you'll be able to understand, at some level, diversification in plain language. Mike will help lay that out to help you convey that clients understand. We're going to reframe risk from something to fear into something that can be managed strategically, clarify the trade-offs between some public and private investments and some challenges within those, illustrate how correlations work and why they matter. Most importantly, guide conversations that give clients clarity, that confidence, and that trust in you to be that leader.
And here's why that matters. When you do this, you move clients from fragmented spreadsheets and second guessing to seeing their entire financial life on one page in clear, simple, plain language that is aligned with their goals. And this shift is really priceless. You can be in the position of bringing together all the different elements of someone's financial world so they can see how it can become one harmonious system.
And before we dive into the challenges your clients are facing, I'd like to take a quick pulse. So which of these best describes the investment conversations you're having most often right now with your clients?
Okay. Tick-tock, tick-tock, Jeopardy music, Jeopardy music.
Ticky, ticky, ticky tock.
Right.
And then a quiet pause. And so the first challenge we see all the time with clients is disjointed portfolios. And clients have accounts scattered across firms, across platforms, and sometimes actually across different managers. And so on paper, it looks like diversification. In reality, it's just overlap. Mike?
Yeah, no, that's really true. Often investors who don't consider themselves to be learned in this might pick up a magazine or a newspaper or whatever and look at the best investments being recommended by whatever it is they're reading and say, oh, it looks good to me, without realizing that they're picking investments that are all essentially the same thing. Okay. And it's important to note that diversification is meant to reduce what we call unsystematic risk. Or it's risk you can get rid of by diversifying. But when all your investments are tied to a single, let's say, market sector or industry, you haven't really diversified anything. Okay. And diversification also can't eliminate what we call systematic risk, which is just risk that's inherent to investing itself. Okay. So it's important to understand what this concept is about, how much risk you actually can reduce, and when you've actually done it. Okay. And also realizing that it's not